Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast. And my guest this week is...
This motherfucker Gary.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. Shouts out to Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was there last week. First time ever in that city. Summit Comedy Club. Let me just say, they have to fix the air conditioning in that place. I guess it was another comedy club before, and I guess different owners came in and changed it up, but crowds were fire. Had a great time. It's just, man, when I first started doing stand-up, I was a sweaty mess. I used to sweat so much. And then I've gotten past that stage in my life until this weekend. The first night, the green room was so hot, I was sitting in front of the little mini fridge. And then I got on stage and it was hot. And then the rest of the weekend, they fixed the air conditioning in the green room, but not in the showroom. It looked like half church service, half civil rights movement. You ever see the civil rights videos where everybody's fanning when Martin Luther King is talking? That's what it felt like. Because the longer I was on stage, the more I saw everybody taking their menus and then just fanning themselves. And I was like, dude, they got to fix this. It's like when you're on stage and you feel that one little bead of sweat go right down the middle of your back. You know you're about to leak. And I was like, and I didn't bring a change of shirt or nothing. Normally I bring an extra T-shirt. I didn't feel like I needed it because I haven't been sweating that much on stage anymore. But this was another level of heat in the showroom. And the more people you got, the hotter it got. So I had a new guy open up for me this week named Adam Fink. It's interesting. I'll tell new comics out there, never stop shooting your shot. I'll put it like that. Because, 90% of the DMs and messages I get, honestly, some you don't read, you miss a lot. But we're in our hotel room a lot as stand-ups and we're by ourselves. So, yeah, you'll start reading messages. And most of them are like, GoFundMe, send me that. You got, just to be real, some people shooting their shot. It's never who you think. It's never like some bad mugs. It's always like, oh, you got a lot of self-esteem. and then you got people trying to hustle you stuff, trying to sell you stuff. But every now and then you'll get the comics asking for a guest spot and things like that. And sometimes when I don't necessarily enjoy guest spots because when I get it as a young guy, you got to ask the headliners when they're coming to your city for a guest spot. But it's just those few comics that fuck it up for the other ones. It's the ones that just don't leave you alone. My green room is where I decompress. I know some comics, like if you go into Faison's green room or Russell Peters' green room, there's a lot of people in there. They enjoy the company and talking to people and things like that. I don't mind it, but I really enjoy my downtime and my alone time. And when I'm in between shows in my green room, that's when I don't like a lot of people in my green room because I don't want to have a ton of conversations. I don't want to explain my career to people that I don't know. And the worst is like if you get the young comics or the guest spots and they're just, they're pitching you bits and telling them about their career and not to discard it, but I'm looking like, dude, just to be blunt, I don't care that you did a guest spot at Smokey's Bar and Grill 2 weeks ago in front of Shucky Ducky. I'm just like, I'm sorry. I check out. So, and that may sound, I don't know how that's going to make me sound, but it's just the truth. I just like my downtime in the green room. But this guy, Adam, DM'd me and said, hey, man, you're a big inspiration to me. I do a lot of humor. like yours, basically race humor. And he sent me some clips of his, and I was like, oh. So I looked at him, and I DM'd him back, and I said, hey, who does your clips? They're pretty good. He goes, I do them myself. I said, oh. I said, so if I give you a guest spot, and this was last month in Fort Lauderdale, I said, can you film my sets? And he goes, yeah, I'll cut them up for you. I was like, great, done. And I even told the management, because I didn't know this guy, I said, hey, I got a guest spot, but I don't want him in the green room like that because I didn't know him. And I know that might sound dickish, but it was just like, I didn't know the guy. So I don't know what I'm getting when you let somebody in the green room. So he recorded all weekend, did guest spots, was funny. And just so happened, my normal openers couldn't make it to Fort Wayne. So I said, I liked them when I met him in Fort Lauderdale. I said, hey, what are you doing in a couple weeks? You want to do Fort Wayne? Came down, ripped it up. The clips you're seeing on my Instagram and TikTok right now, 90% of them are from Adam the last couple weeks. Anything from Fort Wayne is from Adam cutting it up. So he's had a good time. You got to realize the guy's young. He's single, got no kids. I didn't realize this was his first road gig, like quote unquote popped his cherry. So he's just having a ball. I gave him, we got stuff on my rider. So I had some liquor bottles. I don't drink that much anymore. So I said, take them. So at the end of the week, he got like a bottle of Tito's, bottle of wine. He was like this. He goes, you serious? I can have the whole bottle? I said, yeah, take it. So shouts out to the young guy, Adam Fink. We had a great time in Fort Wayne. Got to hang with my guy, Jesse Bates. Used to be with the Bengals. Now he's with the Falcons, sadly. But had lunch with Jalen Smith. Ain't seen that dude in a minute. Jalen was with the Cowboys, Packers, Giants, and rumor is he's going to another team. I don't want to say which one till it happens, but shouts out to him. Great time in Fort Wayne. So let me go over my upcoming schedule. This weekend, I am in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, at Bricktown Comedy Club. That's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, June 9th to the 11th. Then June 16th, 17th, 18th, I'm in Chicago, Illinois. Tickets are flying in Chicago. We're probably going to add shows. It's Father's Day weekend. Holiday weekends are great for comedians. June 21st, I'm in Des Moines, Iowa at the Funny Bone. June 22nd, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. That's already sold out, so we're probably going to add a second show. It's on a Thursday. We should be all right. I think we got a 7:30 show, so we'll probably add a 9:45. So Omaha, if you're there, don't worry. We're gonna add another show. Kansas City, June 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and then we're gonna end the month in Portland at Helium Comedy Club in Portland, Oregon, June 30th, July 1st and 2nd. Got to hit up the Nike outlet store, the employee store. And then July 6th through the 9th, I'm in Austin, Texas at Cap City Comedy Club. So that's my schedule. So last week, I jumped the gun. I spoke about Matt Rife a week early because it seems like as soon as I spoke about him, all of a sudden this week he added his Live Nation announced his world tour with Matt Rife, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit now, but if I talk about him 3 weeks in a row, it just gets weird. So this is it, Matt. You got 2 weeks in a row on my podcast, and we're going to put it to rest for a couple months, your name, because they're going to be like, what are you doing? Why are you talking about Matt again? But it was just funny because talked about him last week, and this week he announces this world tour. And here's the thing. Got a friend of mine, a female friend. She talks about Matt Rife so freaking much. I was like, okay, you're talking about him so much, I'm starting not to like him because I'm supposed to be your favorite comic. So why do you keep bringing up Matt Rife to me? Sending me clip. Yo, Gary, he's coming to this city. I'm in this city. And I was like, and just to be blunt, this is not a girl I'm messing with or anything like that. This is just a friend of mine, younger chick. But yeah, I don't think I like that very much. So I want to like Matt, but if this girl brings up Matt Rife one more time, Matt, we got problems. Because I always text her. I go, sure, I'm gonna try to find a time where you can go to the second funniest comic in the country show. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so shouts out to Matt with his world tour coming to every city, every theater in the country. That's just huge. So let me get personal for a minute. So I'm getting ready to move. So, and this is a customer service inquiry to Peloton. So I have the Peloton bike. I have the Peloton treadmill. So I'm getting ready to move. The bike isn't that hard, I think, to move. I've moved the Peloton bike from a house to house. You take off the little TV screen, and then you move it. But still, I don't feel comfortable because I'm not mechanically inclined, and I don't know how to work that stuff. I don't want to break anything. But if you get the Peloton treadmill, that thing is so heavy and comes in 3 big pieces. I remember when I got it, I was like, oh, my God. I didn't realize it was this much of an undertaking. So, Peloton, they pull up in their little van, and they come and assemble it, and then they walk you through it. So I'm like, okay, getting ready to move. I got to move my Peloton stuff. I don't want movers to move it because I want it to work right. So I actually go into a Peloton store, and I went to the same Peloton store in Houston that I bought the treadmill at. And there's a brother that works there. He's great. And he tells me, he goes, yeah, you got to call customer service. And he gives me the phone number, and I dial it while I'm there. I got it on speaker, and my head leaned back. I go, because it was an automated, hi, welcome to Peloton. Please hold. Press number 1 for customer service. Press number 2 for, an update on your account. Press number 3 if you're having a problem with your product. And he said, Gary, just stay here, put it on speaker, and I can talk to the guy when he gets on the phone. I can answer. I'll make sure you get all your questions answered. Thank you. So I sit down, I'm on speaker. After I get transferred to 3 different people, one guy answers, what do you want? I need help moving. He transfers me to another guy, and then this guy finally gets on the phone. So he gets on the phone, and he's sitting here. He's talking a mile a minute. Oh, thanks for being a loyal customer of Peloton. I see you've been with us for like 6 years. And I said, yeah, I just need help. I said, do you move the equipment? He goes, no, we do not. He goes, with the bike, if you get an Allen wrench, there's 4 bolts in the back of the screen. You take the bolts off, you unplug this to this to this. He just kept talking. I said, yo, excuse me. Nobody's going to retain all that. No person, everything you just told me, there's no way somebody that doesn't know how to do anything is going to retain all this stuff you just told me. And he goes, are you in front of your bike right now? I said, no. I said, I'm actually in the store. I came to the store because I know me. I need help. I don't mind paying for service. I just need help, and I want the bike and the treadmill to work when I move into my new place. And he goes, why are you in the store? The people in the store, they don't know what they're doing. He goes, all they do is sell T-shirts. They're just, he just went in. They don't know anything about the bike. They don't know anything about the tread. They're just there to sell stuff. And he was literally kind of going in on the people that work there. He doesn't know I got them on speakerphone. Like the guy that's helping me, that's been great through this whole process, he goes, hey, brother. He goes, hey, how you doing, man? I'm actually so-and-so. I'm here at the store. I heard everything you just said. And the guy started back. He goes, yeah, I was just saying. He goes, hey, we're on the same team here. And they started to get tense, right? So the guy was telling me they don't do anything with the bike. What they will do, they will come and disassemble the treadmill for me, but won't move it to another location. And here's where he contradicted himself. He said, the reason I don't want to move it myself, because I want it to work when I get to my new place. I don't trust myself to move it and put it back together. And my thing is, like, I understand I don't mind paying if you're going to charge me to disassemble it. But then are you going to charge me again to reassemble it when I get to my new place? Because basically what he said was, yeah, we will disassemble it for you. You have to get the movers to move it. But then I'm probably going to have to pay somebody to reassemble it when I get to my new place. And I go, I can't believe Peloton doesn't do any of this. And this is where he contradicted himself. He said, I said, you just said on the phone, I'll make sure I got my story straight. He said, I said, sir, I don't want to disassemble it myself because I want to make sure it works when I get to my new place. And I don't want movers moving it because they don't work for Peloton. And I don't want them to disassemble it. So he was like, well, the problem with movers disassembling it is they don't know what they're doing. And he said, he goes, a lot of people, they can't get it to, that's why I said, I don't want to disassemble it and I don't know how to reassemble when I get to my new place. And he was like, well, it's very simple. He goes, most people, it doesn't work because they got wear and tear and they don't know what they're doing when they initially put it together. He goes, then when people try to take it apart themselves, he was like, a lot of times it don't work right because they don't know what they're doing when they reassemble it. I said, yeah, that's why I'm calling you. I want you guys to disassemble it for me and reassemble it. But I don't think it's good customer service to charge somebody to disassemble it and then not move it for them and then charge them to reassemble it when they get to their new place. That doesn't make any sense to me, Peloton. I understand if you got to charge somebody to transport it and disassemble it, reassemble it. But the fact that you're going to – basically this guy was telling me, we will disassemble the Peloton treadmill for you, not going to transport it. So I got to get the movers to transport it to my new place. And then you're going to charge me to reassemble it when it should be one fee. Or when you buy the bike and you buy the treadmill like that and you have a loyal customer, you should do stuff for that, for those type of people. And if you got it, if there's a service fee, there's a service fee. But I just think they're trying to double charge people. And the way this guy was talking, he talked so much. It was so much information coming out of his mouth. I was just like, I'm lost. I checked out. I was just like, and it got tense between him and the guy that worked at Peloton. And we ended up just hanging up. So I told him basically, so you don't transport the bike, right? You don't transport and you don't disassemble the bike. He was like, no. And I was like, that's all you had to say from the beginning, not all these reasons why. And then I said, what about the treadmill? Yeah, we disassemble the treadmill. We won't transport it. And then, yeah, we're going to, if you wanted to reassemble it, you got to make an appointment for that, and we're going to charge you for that. So, Peloton, this is what, according to this guy, this is what you're telling people when they get a treadmill. Yeah, we will disassemble it. We will not move it for you. And then when you get to your new place, we're going to charge you again to reassemble it. It should just be one fee. And what I can't believe you don't have the capability, because I see the little Peloton van when it pulls up. You got the guys right there. I'm not moving that far. I'm not moving across country. Moving a couple miles from where I'm living now. I was a little taken back, and I don't know if I got the wrong guy, but now I got the guy at the store making phone calls for me, and he said, we're going to make sure we take care of you. And I was like, I appreciate it. He really stepped up when I needed him. So that's my vent to Peloton. That just doesn't make any sense to me, that you're going to charge somebody to disassemble, not move it, and then charge me to reassemble and make another appointment. So basically this is what we're doing. Disassemble it, hire movers, they come get it, and then just follow us basically to my new place and reassemble it for me. Tell me where that makes sense. The van can literally follow us and reassemble it. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. And the only reason I want to go through Peloton, because I want it to work right. I don't trust movers like that. And I don't even think it's their fault. I just think if they don't know how to move the treadmill, that treadmill is heavy and big and bulky. And I just want you guys to do it because it's your product. That's why I want you guys to move it. And I don't mind paying, but not twice. That's goofy to me. So that's my vent and my rage on Peloton this week. I have a great life if that's what I'm bitching about this week. This is before I get into the last thing I want to talk about. I'm going to do the movie review first. Saw Creed 3 on the plane flying from Fort Wayne back to Houston. I hadn't seen it yet, and when I saw it, I go, it was good. You could tell it was like very different than the other two. Jonathan Majors, that thing's ripped. Michael B. Jordan's ripped. If you go see Creed 3, you don't want to eat popcorn. You don't want to eat Raisinets. I literally wanted to get a protein shake and like filtered water when I left there. When I watched it on the plane. Like literally the lady came down with the snack tray and I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need no sun chips. I was like, what the heck? I was literally on the plane looking at my stomach like, oh, okay. What's going on? I literally went boxing the last 2 days after watching that movie. It was good though, man. It was I think it was It might have been my favorite one of the three, honestly. I think it was. Since Creed came back. And I can't believe the first one came back in 2015. It's been 8 years since Creed came out. It seemed like it was just yesterday. I mean, those 1, 2, and 3, they spread them out over 8 years. It doesn't seem like it. It seemed like it just came out. But I think it was my favorite of the three, honestly. It never dragged. It was good. Jonathan Majors was a good bad guy. I mean, you saw it coming. You saw it. It reminded me of Warrior. If you've ever seen the movie Warrior with, God, what's his name? Tom Hardy. Oh, that's the best mixed martial arts movie out there. You know what? I don't want to get into that. I'll get into that next week. That's how good that movie is. But that's what Creed reminded me of the most was the movie Warrior. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan directed it. Shouts out to just everybody in it was good. Everybody in it was good. I didn't want to say names, and I give the wrong name. They brought Drago back briefly. It was interesting though. I'm sure most people have seen it, but the fight sequences, those are the interesting things to me because they'd have him in the jail cell, and then he went up against the corner, and they were at Dodger Stadium, and they were like at one point it looked like nobody else was in the stadium. It was just those two fighting, and the backstory of the childhood friends, which was very similar to Antoine Fisher. You can see how they took – you see enough movies, you take little nuggets like, oh, this is kind of like an Antoine Fisher backstory of him and the friend Robin, and then the friend got killed in Antoine Fisher, and it still messed with Antoine Fisher years later, whereas this was different where Creed, where Michael B. Jordan – it still bothered him, and he still had guilt for what happened between him and Jonathan Majors' kids. You know what? I'm sorry. I feel bad using their real names. Let me give the character's name. So, I always feel stupid when I should have did that before. So, Damian Anderson. Yeah. Damian Anderson. That's Jonathan Majors' character's name. So you could tell when Adonis and Damian, when they were kids, it's still messing with Adonis years later. So it was very much similar to that. So if you're going to see two movies that reminded me of Creed as far as like the emotional aspect of it, I would say Warrior and Antoine Fisher was the two movies that came to mind. But I think it was my favorite of the three ever since the first. Yeah, I really do. It was that good. It never dragged. I thought the fight sequence was the best. Just the way they shot it. It was just good, man. It's a good movie. Yeah, Wood Harris is good in everything he does. They had a real and shouts out to Spence Moore. I saw you as a little kid in that movie. Oh, that's good. So, yeah, go see Creed 3 on video wherever you can find it. So the last thing I want to talk about, there's two things. It's been a rough week for comedians, man. Between the Jamie Foxx rumors, you hear so much, and at this point, I think the respectful thing would be just to fall back until Jamie's ready to announce anything, because I hear people talking about like we ain't seen no pictures, no videos of Jamie. And I'm like, Jamie don't owe us nothing. I go, Jamie can post a picture video on social media whenever he wants. The big thing to me is Jamie to get healthy. And listen, when you're in the hospital or you're under the weather or whatever happened, when you ain't looking your best, you don't want to show a video or picture. I know when I had knee surgery, I didn't want to show me in the hospital like that. I go, man, I look like shit when I have my knee surgery. So I think the main thing is, like, let's stop all the rumors, the hearsay, and just let Jamie get healthy on his own and let him post when he wants to post, or let his daughter post when she's ready to post. But all these rumors, I heard this. I've heard so much shit on this, and I'm just like, can we just all just fall back and let Jamie get healthy and let Jamie post when he wants to post? I mean, it could be a year from now. I don't care. Just let that man do. He don't owe us nothing. And then the DC Youngfly thing, I think it floored everybody. And especially in the comedian's world. So his partner, Jackie O, I mean, everybody knows she passed away. They got 3 little kids. And I think as a stand-up, people don't realize all that goes into it. And when you got to have a good team around you to just make your life functional. Like I said, this week I was with this young guy, Adam, and I said he don't have any kids. He doesn't have a wife. He's just single out there living life. When you're in that stage of your life, stand-up's great. It's not even how much money you make. I mean, keep in mind, you're tapped in socially. When you're on stage and nobody else is in town, and you rip on that stage, whether you're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Chicago, Illinois, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Meridian, Mississippi, I mean, when people are there, they're captivated by you. And at that point, it don't matter how many movies you've been in, how many tickets you sold. You're the guy for that moment, for that crowd when you're on stage. So you are Kevin Hart, you are Jerry Seinfeld, you are George Carlin in that moment on stage. And when you're single with no kids, it's no problem. You got to keep in mind, like DC Youngfly's got 3 young kids, and now their mom's gone. And so it's one thing to take the grieving part. Now he's got to get through that. And then you got to get into like, oh man, life's got to keep going. So now he's got to be a father to these 3 kids, and they don't have their mom anymore. And I don't know how they ran their household, because it seemed like DC was the one like, okay, I'm about to take the reins and I'm going to handle shit. And I'm going on the road and I'm going to do these movies. And he was on the tour, and it was just like, man. And they got the Netflix special coming out, 85 South. And I know he's got a lot of good friends and coworkers, but I can't even imagine what he has to do now just to get back on the road to make sure his kids are okay. And when somebody passes like this unexpectedly, we tend to focus on how they died and not focus on how the people around them are going to continue to live. I can't even imagine. And I always said, like, shouts out to my ex-wife, because take our problems aside, I never had to worry about my kids when I was on the road, ever. I always said I had such peace of mind because I knew she wasn't out in the streets, and I knew the kids came first, and I knew that they were taken care of when I was on the road. And I'm sure DC had that same relationship with Jackie O. So when this came out that she passed away, I'm just like, that's where I go when things like that happen to stand-ups. And it's just like, anybody knows DC, he's an old soul. He's not in it for the party. He's not in it for the quote-unquote perks. Those come with it, and those are great. You're able to get into sporting events. You're able to get into concerts. You're in rooms that a lot of people, 90% of the country, can't get in. That comes with it. But if you ever talk to DC and you've worked with him, you know one thing he does, he gets on his knee and he prays before every show. And it ain't for show. Like, he's in it. He is literally thanking God for his life before every show. And anybody's worked with him, you know I'm telling the truth. Right? And it's always right before he hits the stage. It ain't when he gets to the venue. It's right before they announce his name. And so there's a level of spirituality there that's probably going to carry him through this. He always is just he's a sponge for knowledge when it comes to this game. He will pull you aside and ask questions and swap stories. And as loud and boisterous as he is on stage, now he has his moments off stage, but that dude will sit and listen. He will sit back and listen to the quote unquote OGs swapping stories. And that's when those guys that do that, that's when I'd be looking in rooms like, oh, they're going to be all right in this business, because they're just soaking it up. And I mean, as a young guy, I don't care how successful you are. I don't care if you're a Matt Rife now. a DC Youngfly, any of these young comics, man. And I was there when I first got to LA just to sit in a room and listen to a Bernie Mac talk or Cedric the Entertainer talk or Steve Harvey or any of these kings of comedy, Paul Mooney, just any of these guys when I first got to LA and just could sit in the back and listen to them share road stories. There's nothing like it. And it's something that we hold on to as stand-ups. We get to share those moments with each other backstage in the green room and get to know each other. And you get to share the stories, the good and the bad, about baby mamas, wives, girlfriends, run-of-the-mill, just women. We get to share those stories with each other. And you're not privy to that unless you're backstage in the green room. And DC's always one that when he was on these big tours and these shows, he sat back and he listened. He was just on the tour with Cedric, DL. Who else on that? Who was that? Straight No Chaser tour? Who else was on that? I don't want to disrespect anybody, leave anybody out. It was a Straight No Chaser tour. Let's see. Because I know if I was on the tour, I'd be like, you didn't even say my name, bro. Straight No. There it is. Hold on just a second. Okay, so yeah, Mike Epps, D.L. Hughley, Earthquake, Cedric, DC Youngfly, and I'm sure they interchanged some of them, but just to sit in the back and listen to those guys swap stories. I guarantee I wasn't on that tour, but I guarantee when they was backstage, DC was like this, just soaking it up, just soaking up the knowledge, and shouts out to his 85 South crew, Chico Bean and Carlos Miller. I know they're going through it too. I mean, those guys, they came up together. This is what you got to realize about stand-ups. When you get on a tour or you're at these comedy clubs, every headliner, we have our openers. Well, now, granted, I said we got Adam, but I got my guy T-Robe and I got my guy Rob, who's on the road with me 90% of the time. You spend more time with those guys than your own family. They become your second family. They know more about you than probably your family does because they see everything. And it's just like, so for Carlos and Chico to go through this too, I guarantee you, DC had shared his whole life with them. Probably the day he met Jackie O on Wildin' Out to when they started dating to when she got pregnant with the first kid. Like, they're going through it too. So stand-up is it's an interesting business because most holidays we got to go out there and we got to leave our families to entertain other people. I'm in Chicago on Father's Day this year. New Year's Eve's a big day. Easter's a big weekend. It's just like Valentine's. Either when you get to the point where you have, like DC's got 3 kids, you get to the point like they're young, they can't come to every city, so you can't bring them to every show, so you're going to miss holidays. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it for people to feel sorry for us. It's a great life. Don't get it twisted. We got a job that we enjoy. I always say, I don't ever make me feel guilty about enjoying my career because I enjoy it thoroughly. And for him, I just, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what he's going through. And the kids, God, they're missing their mother. And now he's got to completely because you get on autopilot. When you're on the road, you're on autopilot. So I guarantee you DC was like, all right, I got these dates. He probably sat down with Jackie. They went over when the kids can come on certain shows. Were they going to be this week? You got them this week. You're good. It's all like, and now it's all just up in the air. He's got to totally revamp everything. Got to revamp the way he moves, who's watching his kids, where they're going. And it's just like, it sucks. It sucks. I just feel bad for him. Thinking about you. I don't even know how to reach out. I'm sure your phone is just like blowing up and only thing you can really add is thinking about you. You're in my thoughts and everything, and it's just like, because he's really one of the good guys in this business. There's some people in this business you're like, but I mean, DC's literally one of the good guys. When I first met him was Dayton, Ohio, and I was at the airport, and I was flying out, and he was flying in, and I didn't really know him. I just knew him from the internet. That's before he really had anything. He just had the "fuck you mean," and he was just going in on different celebs, and they would do stuff, and I was like, oh, it's kind of funny. Found his niche, and Will Packer found him and put him in the Christmas movie about 8 years ago. And I remember I passed him at the airport, and we made eye contact. And I think like one of the guys he was traveling with was like, "Yo, Gary Owen, like what's going on?" I remember DC just looked at me and goes, "Hey, what's up, man? Hey, I fucks with you, man. I fucks with you." And I was like, "Yeah." And then I did a little post afterwards. I go, "Hey, I just met DC Youngfly for the first time. Fuck you mean." And that's all I said. I said, "I don't know if I'm saying it right. Fuck you mean." But that was our first interaction. And ever since then, every time I see him, it's just love. Some people, when you're on these quote unquote ensemble shows or these tours, you'd be like, you know what you're gonna get. I mean, everybody's had their bad days and good days, but you're like, I don't know what kind of attitude this person's gonna be in when I see him. Or some people you just don't want to be around. Personality. Some personalities don't click, and I think I speak for like just about every comic out there. You never feel that way with DC. You know what it is. You know he's going to come in. He's going to be a ball full of energy. It's going to be positive. He's going to be cutting up backstage. But like I said, when the OG starts talking, he's the guy just sitting there like, you could tell he's just soaking it in. And he's not trying to cut anybody off or throw in a story that's not needed. He just listens, and he's just soaking it all up, Just feel bad. That was a rough week, man. So, before we, the social media and the internet's going to do what they do. But for those of us that are stand-ups that are in this business, we know what's important. It ain't about how she died, why she died. It's just she passed away, and now we all got to be there for DC, like whatever he needs. There's between 85 South and everybody else in Atlanta that's been around him since day one. They're going to make sure he's taken care of and he's good. But we all know, stand-ups know what we got to go through to go on the road, to have that peace of mind so we can give the people a great show. Because that's the thing. His first show back, man, it's going to be, I don't know how he's going to get through it. It's going to be tough, But that's the beauty of stand-up. You get to bare your soul, and it's our therapy session. We can open up and then have you laugh and then have you cry and then have you thinking. And that's why people go to stand-up shows too, is they want to know that they're not alone. And you can turn tragedy into smiles, into laughs, and that's how you can start to heal. So, yeah. So anyways, I know I talked about this a lot, but I didn't want to cut it short talking about everything he's going through. So just think about your brother, your 3 kids, your family, and take your time. Come back when you're ready. And Carlos and Chico thinking about you too, because I know you guys are, they say blood is thicker than water. That's a lie, because I know you 3 you can't get any tighter than you 3. So anyway, think about all you guys and anybody else that was close with them. So, All right. This is Gary Owen, and I'll see you next week on the Get Some podcast.